Hey there folks, how you doing today? Hope all is going well for you. Welcome back to the program. This is the latest edition of Unfiltered Fans Only Content. If you don't know what that means, it means you probably haven't been following along, and this probably will not be of much relevance to you. This is a portion that I do specifically for the loyal viewers of the channel that follow everything that we do and dig a little deeper with me than where we go on some of the review posts and what have you. Now the unfiltered part, that's got kind of a twofold meaning. We say things on here that we may omit from, say, a review video, but also it means that I don't go back through and delete nearly as much content as I do when I'm editing a video for the masses. As most of you are well aware, I've mentioned it time and time again, it takes time to make these videos, and in this format we just don't take the time to filter it all out. I hope some of you have heeded the advice that I've given on stocking away a little more than usual. A couple of months ago I picked up these food grade barrels. They were bulk packed Mediterranean olives. They arrived in 55-gallon drums. They were then taken to a canning facility where they were put into the kind of jars that you buy in the grocery store, and the empty barrels were surplused by this gentleman up the road from me, and I picked a couple of them up for the purpose of dry good storage. Now those barrels still had olive oil in them. They still smelled very much like olives, and it took a little bit of elbow grease to get them cleaned out. Hot water and Dawn dish soap go a long way. Now one issue that I ran into with cleaning the barrels is the top opening is rather small, and I was unable to reach down in there and thoroughly scrub the bottom easily, but I figured out a way around that, so I'll show you what I did. Maybe this hack will work for you if you choose to source some food storage containers like these barrels. Alright, so in our effort to clean up this barrel, first let me tell you a little bit about it. I picked it up for 30 bucks the other day. It is an HDPE Type 2 barrel. It's from Greece, and it contained olives. While I can't read Helic or whatever it is you call it, Greek, you can see there that this jar was originally intended to be used for olives. I purchased it from a supplier that had picked it up straight from the facility where the olives were dispensed into smaller containers here. And when I opened the jar, it had a scent of olives. That's exactly what it smelled like. And I've been working on cleaning it out. I put hot soapy Dawn dish soap with a little bit of Clorox in it, scrubbed it up, and so far it's really clean, but it's still got a slight oily film, and I can't reach all the way down inside, but I found somebody who could. Hi! Back in the jar. Sometimes we have to utilize the smaller members of our tribe in order to accomplish the mission. This one's really good at what she does. Can you say hi, Mary? Alright, thanks to Mary for that. We appreciate it. Speaking of help that I get from the girls, the lawnmower broke again the other day. You know that's been a constant problem for me here lately. The biggest issue I had this time was I was unable to find the parts that I needed to fix it. I had to run around and finally had to improvise and modify something to make it work, but it did. It worked really good. Thankfully, I had some help with this project this time. After she helped me get it back together, she even volunteered to test drive it to make sure it was running. So All right, moving right along. I did a video on some bargain magazines the other day. I had picked up some clearance priced P80 magazines, Glock style magazines, and I did a little video to show you how to make those work. This was the video. I'll put a link down in the description. Like to see that one bumped up a little bit in the algorithm. All of the any comments you leave or thumbs up or thumbs down that you give the videos does help to keep it circulating, especially when it is controversial content. Sometimes those videos really get suppressed. All right, while we're talking about viewer feedback, let me explain to you that I do try to go in and read all the comments. I always try to at least leave a thumbs up or say thanks for watching or something to let you know that I saw your comment. I do put an email address in most of my videos, so if you really want to give me something that I can remember, that's a good way to do it also. Pay attention here, folks. This is real important. A year or so ago, back when I had 10% of the subscribers that I have now, it was a lot easier to keep up with viewer feedback and answering questions and doing things suggested by the viewers. It's not that I'm not trying to do it, it's just there's so much of it now that stuff gets shuffled around and I lose track of who asked for this and so on and so forth. So I will ask you, much like my grandfather used to ask me, if I told you I was going to do something and I haven't done it yet, please remind me. While we're on the subject of viewer feedback, for starters, let me point out these are both safe and empty weapons. There's no ammunition out here on the table. We're going to keep it that way for the remainder of this portion. Hey there folks, how you doing today? Hope all is going well for you. Sorry about that. Yesterday, this bad boy right here, this cordless Bluetooth microphone that communicates with the camera, died in the middle of our shoot. And so I rattled on for a good 15 minutes and nobody could hear it. So that was probably the best content to date we've put out on the channel. Alright, so I was right in the middle of, again, these are safe and empty weapons. Show clear here, folks. A viewer had asked if the Taurus GX4 would fit in the holster made for the SIG P365. Right here I have identical holsters, both made by CYA Supply. This is my favorite inside the waistband concealed carry holster. This one right here is the GX4 model. As you'll note, GX4 slides right in. It's got good retention. SIG P365 will fit all the way in, no problem, but it'll fall right back out. So I think that's probably going to tell you what you need to know, but we'll go ahead and try them the other way around. Again, this is the SIG P365 holster. You'll notice again, good retention. The Taurus GX4 will only go about 3/4 of the way in, and it's really pushing out on this trigger guard. So I'm going to show you right here, side-by-side comparison. The difference in the trigger guard is probably most of the issue. If you can see that, they're completely different shapes. But also, just this whole frontal area right here is just a little bit more square than it is on the P365. I'm going to look over at handgunhero.com and see if I can't show you a superimposition here. If you haven't had a chance to check out handgunhero.com, this guy is a middle-aged geezer like me that does this stuff for fun. So give him some love and support if you get a chance. All right, so I would say that is a no-go. I know you had referenced light compatibility. It could work, but as far as standard holsters go, I'm going to say it does not work. So I hope that helps you out there. It would be really hard for me to rehash everything that I said yesterday perfectly. It's kind of annoying, but we'll go ahead and we'll do it this way. By the way, if you're wondering why I look like this, I've been on the roof all morning. Those of you who have been watching the show for some time now may remember that there were a couple of solar panels over here in the corner. I had bought those as a contingency. They sit around for about 6 months. I decided to go ahead and employ them here in the barn. So it's something that we're going to be working on in the very near future, is seeing if they will put out enough, if they'll put out enough juice to run all the lights and everything out here in the barn. I'm really hoping that they will. I've got a couple of little video clips of that. Alright, so some of you may be aware, for the last couple of months I've had a pile of solar panels sitting in the back corner of the shed. And I finally decided today that if I didn't get them up there today, I probably wasn't going to get it done. So I went and rigged up a little stand for them using 3 pressure treated privacy fence pickets. I decided to spare y'all the building of that stand, figuring that if you couldn't figure out how to make a little rack like this, you probably don't have any business hanging your own solar panels. Is it ready? So we've got the two 100 watt panels on the roof right above this thing. That's where we came through. Hopefully we won't have a leak there. This particular unit is expandable to 400 watts, so we could double what we have on the roof. This is a 500 amp charge controller, a 125 amp hour AGM battery. This is made for a VMAX charge tank. It's the Amazon's choice for a solar battery. When I bought this, they were under 300. Now they're about 350. And then we have a 2500 watt inverter. So what I'm hoping to be able to do is power all of the lights and auxiliaries out here in the barn. I don't think it'll be heavy enough to run power tools, or at least not to much degree. But hopefully we can keep all the lights and everything going just off of this setup. It'll be an interesting experiment. Thanks for watching. So we'll have to stay tuned and see how it all works out. All right, so I've got a few funny things here that I'll share with you. I'm not even sure which side I've got this set up on. Let's do it on this side. This is probably one of the cooler igloos that I've seen. Wow, I've never seen an insurance company have a guy's back more than this. Folks, don't get all nostalgic on me, but take a look at that gas price. I miss those mean tweets. Talking about gas prices, saw this on the news the other day. Tips to save on gas. You could ride a bike, you could walk, you could buy a Tesla, or you could invent a hydrogen-powered car and get assassinated by big oil. For those of you thinking that those battery-powered cars are the end-all, be-all, power has to come from somewhere, folks. It's just the way it is. In fact, batteries do not make electricity, they store electricity produced elsewhere, primarily by coal, uranium, natural gas powered plants, or diesel fueled generators. So to say an EV is a zero emission vehicle is not at all valid. On that same note, these men produce the oil for my diesel truck. These children produce the lithium for your electric car. Just, you know what? It would be great if it were an end-all, be-all. This makes it so much better. You know, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. It would be great. But it's not true. You're deceiving yourself if you think it is. Alright, speaking of the talking snake media, there's been a lot of stuff on the news lately. Understand, they lie to you. They deceive you. The things you hear them say are half-truths at best. They push a narrative to push their agenda that is paid for by the people that control them. Do not believe everything you hear on the internet. Yes, I realize you're hearing this on the internet. The way people watch the news. We've talked about jailman amnesia on here before, and I really like this one. The way people watch the news reminds me a lot of this one. Many won't see it. You know, if you know what you're looking at, then you know there's something wrong with it, but a lot of folks will take it at face value. Speaking of those 11 people who still believe the media, look out for monkeypox. Over here it says the source of the monkeypox outbreak has been identified. There might be more truth to that one than there are to some. Oh, the Simpsons foretold it again. Oh, we got old Fauci there. What a criminal. You want monkeypox? Because that's how you get monkeypox. I actually had a couple more of these, but I do try to keep this content at least PG-13, so I didn't put them on there. And on that note, before anyone asks, I'm not taking a monkeypox jab either. If you're still not convinced, there's a book for you down at the library. The government means you well, media tells you the truth, and Big Pharma wants you healthy, and other fairy tales for naive adults. That hurts. See, I saw this in the news the other day. I did believe it because it happened in Arkansas. Check that out. How many beers do you have to have before you're willing to grab a raccoon at a ball game? That's what I want to know. Alright, on to something a little more. I think it's funny. You might not think it's funny, but I like this one. You're not going to tell anyone about last night, right? Don't worry, it's our secret. Nobody will ever know. 9 months later. I'd like to go on record as saying, I would drive that. Them. Where do you see yourself in 6 to 12 months? Me. Yeah. I hope not. Among my many faults, one of them is I still chew tobacco, although I really do need to quit, and I need to just stop buying it and then I'll quit. And at the price they're getting for it, that might be easier to do here in the near future. I said that to say this. I went to the store the other day on my way to work. I stopped in somewhere I don't normally go. I went to go see what they had. I noticed a pouch It said America's Best Chew Golden Blend. And I looked at that and I said, that looks like a Red Man Golden Blend pouch. But I figured it was like maybe the Great Value version of Red Man or whatever. So I picked it up. And when I unfolded the flap, I saw this. Same great Red Man taste, new name. 135 years. Nobody had a problem with it. They went woke. They'll go broke, at least as far as I'm concerned. I'm not buying any more of it. Let's see here. This is Timmy digging a hole to bury his Daisy air rifle so the commie libs can't take it. Timmy ain't turning in. I think that's what I had for today. Hats. I ain't wearing it now. I was wearing it earlier, but you saw what happened, so I did this. All right, and I almost forgot to mention that my brother, Pastor Chuck, designed some very cool hats for me. Yes, I realize that's backwards in your camera, but I'm sure you can figure out what it says. I will superimpose an image of it on there for you, as well as he made some stickers for the channel. We've got a limited supply of these hats. I will look into getting a couple of those out during some upcoming giveaways. In the meantime, if you would like a sticker like this for your garage fridge or your bumper or the back of your laptop, shoot me an email with your address and I'll send one out to you. Take care. God bless.